Hi there, welcome back to Apatros Review. In this episode, C.I.A. Codename Alexa, directed by Justin Murray in the year 1992. This is a classic of the PM catalog. Hi there, welcome back to Apatros Review, your guide to the wild world of science fiction, action, horror cinema with me, your host, Mila Sipka. If you want to spell my name, just look at the channel name. Now in this episode, we'll take a look at a cult classic of the 90s, C.I.A. Codename Alexa, which actually premiered in Japan on the 24th of September 1992, and in the US on the 20th of January 1993. This is a direct-to-video film. In fact, it was probably one of the most notorious ones in the 90s. It was a big hit when it came out. Now, if you want to get a DVD of this, the film is currently in public domain, so that means you'll be finding this film on many cheap labels. In Australia, Payless Entertainment has issued this film in their cheap multi-packs for the past 20 years, and you'll be able to find a cheap copy, sometimes lumped together with its sequel C.I.A. 2 Target Alexa, which I'll also cover in the future, in a double pack, from just about any $2 shop during the 2000s and 2010s, and second-hand copies online. Be warned though, as the quality of most of these DVDs are not better than Passable. Now, before 1992, the direct-to-video market was still considered a rather negligible market, given that there were almost no professional studios putting out direct-to-video films at the time. But that all changed when New Image, a company formed by former associates of the legendary 1980s studio Canon Films, and a certain small company that was formed by fledgling C-grade filmmakers Justin Murray and Richard Pepin as a replacement for their previous company C.I.A., itself responsible for a number of ultra-cheap direct-to-video films that came out during the late 1980s, that became known as PM Entertainment. It started putting out professionally made films that became minor classics, giving them enough financial clout to take on the big studios in the movie game. PM's first films are only slightly better budgeted than the City Lights films, but it wasn't until their release of C.I.A. Codename Alexa that the ensuing cult success of this film made PM into a major player in the direct-to-video market, and a legend amongst aficionados of VHS rental stores and customers of cable television over the course of the 1990s. Arms dealer Victor Mahler, who hides behind the shield of the diplomatic community while financing terrorist weapons distribution around the world, has finally managed to get his army of thugs to steal a valuable microchip that can control nuclear warheads. The team he sent to steal the chip had been caught and killed by the cops in the CIA, but the leader of the team swallows the chip before dying, so that Mahler can send his goons to steal his body and remove the chip, which they do successfully. But Mahler's girlfriend, Alexa, a Serbian mercenary who has very little information record, and is reputed to be one of the best mercenaries on the terrorist market, has been captured by the LAPD. Mark Graver, a maverick CIA agent, gets the hots for Alexa, but their budding romance is complicated by the fact that an LAPD detective, whose partner was killed by Mahler's goons, is seriously gunning for Mahler, and Alexa's young daughter has been abducted by Mahler's insurance for Alexa to recover the microchip. In terms of technical quality, C.I.A. Codename Alexa is only on the level of a very cheap C-grade action thriller with the same attributes that plagued City Lights productions. The lighting is pretty mediocre, making some scenes somewhat difficult to make out, especially when you watch this film on VHS or some of the cheap DVDs of this title floating around out there. And the acting from half the cast is unconvincing, especially that of the cop's captain, who acts like a complete buffoon sent for his next drink. Not to mention a script that seems to have been written entirely on assumptions on how diplomatic immunity works, and also on the actions of the CIA. The agency, in real life, is forbidden by its charter from conducting domestic operations. That's what the NSA is for. The one thing that most people have with the film, indeed the very reason that made the film a big hit on cable television and VHS rentals at the time of its release, was the fact that actor O.J. Simpson starred in the film. In fact, he gets third billing. And the film came out shortly before the trial came out. Now, while I don't automatically dismiss films purely because an actor has committed a terrible crime, also in consideration is that the film was made before the murders that Simpson stood trial for, and also that since he was found not guilty, technically, the legal assumption that all people are considered innocent until proven guilty stands for everybody. Then this technically means that despite your personal feelings of whether he killed his wife and her lover or not, O.J. Simpson is technically innocent of the crime. He did lose a civil trial over the matter and forced to pay the victim's family's compensation, so I don't want to hear people calling him a murderer. That legal assumption that all people are considered innocent until proven guilty stands for everybody. And there's a lot of people out there in social media who inflict false or legally unproven charges on people, and I do not want to go that road, so let me make that view crystal clear. Now, despite all the technical issues and the whole notoriety of the O.J. Simpson trial, and some howlingly bad mistakes like the magazines of submachine guns changing size, and the idea of people bringing guns to a funeral in a church, Also worth noting is that the eulogy delivered here rivals that of For Hire, which came out the previous year, which I already reviewed, for being the most bizarre eulogy ever given in a film. C.I.A. Codename Alexa is, for fans of bad action movies, a godsend, and also the instigator of a whole heap of high-energy action B-grade direct-to-video titles from PM over the course of the 1990s. The first 20 minutes of the film, from terrorists tossing a chair and a hostage out the window to the words of "Okay pigs, I'll release this guy," and Lorenzo Lamas sorting them out by riding a police motorcycle through the front door, to the church shootout, to the awesome sight of a terrorist charging to a van while the cops blasted apart with their shotguns and pistols. And by the way, this is long before the infamous 1997 North Hollywood shootout forced the cops to acquire assault rifles. And the terrorist getting crisp when his van blows up, the guy walking around in flames. Well, this is what we fans of 1990s direct-to-video action movies watch this stuff for, and it is awesome. So that first 20 minutes is pretty much perfect direct-to-video action. That and the somewhat tender love story between Lorenzo Lamas and his then wife Kathleen Kinmont, and the good chemistry elevates what could have been a mediocre action film into a passable for most action fans, and awesome for the PM fans cult classic. Now, for the gore. This is not exactly gory, but damn is this one full of action. There is a scene where the terrorist's brother, after screwing up a mission, loses an eye, but the act is depicted off screen. Also plenty of explosions on offer here. Now for nudity, well, Kathleen Kinmont's breasts and butt get partial views here. Now, as for the verdict, C.I.A. Codename Alexa gets a C+, 5 out of 10. It is passable, but for the PM crowd this is essentially a masterpiece. Now I should point out that the cheap DVDs of this one floating around do not have any extras or anything on them. And by the way, the index picture for this video is of the Australian VHS. You can tell from the M rating at the bottom the cover, and it was released by Rockville Films, I think. I know it's been a long time since I saw that tape. Okay, so C.I.A. Codename Alexa gets a C+, 5 out of 10. It's passable, but if you're a PM fan, essentially a masterpiece. Now, I do not do requests, but if you want to know of a particular film in my collection, or if you have any problems about DVDs that you want to know about, you just hit me up in the comment section and I'll answer. Okay, now I know New South Wales right now is pretty much in another 4 weeks of lockdown. Oh well, I'm okay. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. You gotta look out for each other. Okay. See you next time and take it easy.